Canelo done something that is amazing when Canelo was able to go to light heavyweight and become light heavyweight champion. Something that I didn't even see him going up that heavy, and he did that.
Canelo lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, first time in that division and jumping two divisions.
The way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can be Canelo. A 147 pounder moving up to 68.
Floyd Mayweather explains why Terence Crawford will never beat Canelo Alvarez, pointing to the significant weight disadvantage. He stresses that moving up several divisions is not just about skill, but about handling size, power, and endurance at the elite level. Canelo has fought naturally bigger opponents throughout his career, while Crawford is stepping into unknown territory. Mayweather suggests this difference will be too much for Crawford to overcome despite his technical brilliance.
Because of the weight disadvantage. I can't go all the way up to 180 or 190 pounds.
Robert Garcia emphasizes that Terence Crawford's lack of experience at super middleweight poses one of the biggest challenges of his career. While Crawford has shown brilliance across multiple divisions, stepping into Canelo Alvarez's natural weight class is far more dangerous than previous moves. Garcia points out that Canelo has spent years perfecting his craft against naturally bigger men, whereas Crawford has yet to prove he can maintain his sharpness, speed, and conditioning at such a size. The trainer notes that Crawford's body has not fully adapted to the added weight, making him appear less explosive and less fluid than before. This could become a crucial factor when facing a seasoned champion like Canelo, who thrives in this division.
Jumping two divisions where he only had one fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, about that. And that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford. But I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for one punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford, Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not, but I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure. And hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank
you
you.
very
Cheers.
much.
Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure, and hopefully be catching up sometime soon. Appreciate, thanks for coming. You very much. Cheers. Showbiz The Adult underlines the monumental stakes of the Crawford versus Canelo fight. He argues that should Crawford manage to overcome Canelo's size and power, his legacy would soar to new heights, placing him firmly alongside Floyd Mayweather in the all-time great conversation. Beating a fighter of Canelo's stature would cement Crawford as the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of his generation, erasing any lingering doubts about his resume. However, Showbiz also stresses that this achievement would not automatically surpass Mayweather's legacy instead. It would place Crawford directly behind him in the historical line. As Mayweather's undefeated career and dominance across eras remain unmatched, still the chance for Crawford to leap into such a rarefied status makes the fight a defining moment in boxing history.
3-time undisputed is insane. If you were to beat Canelo, Terence Crawford, at that point, pound for pound, right under Floyd. Wherever you got Floyd, I put whatever you got him, Terence Crawford's right behind him. Unless you got him first. Okay, how about me? Because I don't have Floyd in my top 10. I have Pacquiao over Floyd. So I know somebody's about to get moist, but I would put Terence Crawford, man, shit. man, that's old school. That's Henry Armstrong, Sam Langford. Like that's old. That's Joe Gans and Barbados Joe Walcott and Barbados Joe, not Jersey. I'm Barbados. Like that's old school accomplishments. Man, that's throwback. I would have to assess that. 3-time undisputed in the 4-belt era, and against who? Yo, that I don't think Pacquiao would have achieved I don't think he achieved anything in a single fight that would be greater than Terrence Crawford jumping up 3 weight classes and beating Canelo. I don't think Pacquiao achieved anything in a single fight greater than that. Not in a single fight. Beating Cotto, that's I still, because Cotto was weight drained. Has Floyd done anything? Well, he beat Canelo.
Jeff Mayweather reacts strongly to Canelo. Alvarez claimed that Crawford is better than Floyd. According to Jeff, such a statement is less about truth and more about Canelo trying to elevate himself by comparison. He explains that since Canelo lost convincingly to Floyd Mayweather, suggesting that Crawford is superior gives Canelo an indirect way of excusing his own defeat. Jeff argues that while Crawford is extremely talented, he has not yet matched Floyd's level of dominance or his achievements across the sport. For him, Floyd's undefeated record and the way he handled elite opponents throughout his career speak for themselves, and no comparison should be drawn until Crawford achieves much more.
Well, also if we remember, Canelo at that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other 2 judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose?
20s.
I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
Want
to make himself look like he did something great.
Joel Diaz dismisses Crawford's chances, outright pointing to the overwhelming size difference. He reminds audiences that Canelo has stood toe-to-toe with heavy hitters who possessed both power and durability. If Canelo could absorb punches from someone of Golovkin caliber, Diaz questions how Crawford, who has fought men closer to his own natural size, can inflict serious damage for Diaz-Crawford's skill set. While impressive cannot bridge the gap in physicality, he notes that fighters often underestimate the toll of moving up in weight until they feel the power of naturally bigger opponents, and in this case, Canelo's resilience and strength create a mountain that Crawford cannot climb.
Ask him who Skull is, they won't even know who he is. I don't even know who he is, but they chose him for a reason, right? A guy with a good record. But
he's a champion in the
division.
Champion. He's got the other stone that's out there that Canelo needs to connect. Again, the fight against Terrence Crawford.
It's a fight for Canelo to win. Simple as that. That's all I can tell you.
Then in September, if Canelo wins, he's got Terrence Crawford waiting in the wings.
There is no way that Terrence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. A 147-pounder moving up to 68. He can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, good 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he'll hurt him. Let's put it this way. You remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andre?
Yes.
Demetrius Andre was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. Look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andre was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it takes over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. Turkey Al-Sheikh is a big fan of Terrence Crawford. He wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that. That's all it is, man.
The discussion around the ring size for this fight highlights another layer of strategy. Whether the ring ends up being 18 feet or 22 feet, experts argue that the difference will not drastically alter the outcome. Crawford supporters believe a larger ring would allow him to use his footwork and angles to outmaneuver Canelo, relying on his slick style to neutralize the Mexican star's pressure. However, analysts note that Canelo has faced opponents in both small and large rings, and adjusted effectively each time. While ring size may slightly favor Crawford, it is unlikely to offset the reality of Canelo's power and natural size advantage. The fight will ultimately be decided by execution rather than dimensions.
The biggest things in this Canelo-Crawford fight we are not talking about is the ring size. If these guys are fighting in the non-traditional 18 by 18 ring, you're going to want to put your money on Canelo, guys. It is a big difference. Losing out on that extra 4 feet is going to be an issue for Crawford. It's still possible. Crawford's talented. He's athletic. He has all the potential in the world to pull off a crazy upset here. No matter the ring size, it don't matter. Terence Crawford's that brilliant. He's that excellent. But I'm going to tell you, man, losing out on that 4 feet is going to hurt his odds. It's the same thing with 22 feet. Like I said, I don't know what ring they're going with, but if it is in the 22 feet, it's going to hurt Canelo's odds by a pretty decent margin. Maybe not as much as it's going to hurt Crawford's odds in the 18, but it's still going to hurt it. You're giving Crawford an extra 4 feet to pivot, maneuver, slip, bob, weave, do whatever he wants. That's going to give Canelo some issues. I feel like we're not talking about this enough. I heard Turkey said it was going to be at 18. That was a really long time ago. Like I said, I don't know if they've confirmed what it's going to be quite yet, but I think it's interesting. Once we get the official announcement, you guys, that's when you place your bets.
Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence has made many fans confident in his chances against Canelo. That performance showcased his timing, adaptability, and ruthless finishing ability, leaving no doubt about his superiority. At welterweight, however, analysts caution that Spence, while talented, is not a naturally larger man like Canelo. They highlight Israel Madov as a contrasting example of fighters. Crawford has not faced bigger men who could test his limits. Meanwhile, Canelo has already dealt with such challenges, fighting opponents even larger than himself and still managing to compete at the highest level. The concern remains that Crawford's brilliance against welterweights might not translate when faced with a physically dominant super middleweight like Canelo.
Hey y'all, the simple real fact is, Terence Crawford never looked that good fighting anybody but Errol Spence. Another real fact is, y'all put too much on Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Y'all act like he just beat fucking Jesus or Thanos or something. Okay, I get it. Errol Spence was that guy. He beat him. He dominated him. He won that fight. But y'all take that and y'all put so much on that fight, but then y'all look at the Madrimov fight and say, he was a tricky fighter. He's hard for anybody. No one can beat Madrimov. He's the second best fighter in the world because he went 12 rounds with Crawford. Not the case. Y'all put too much on the Errol Spence fight and y'all don't put enough on the Madrimov fight. Then we go back to Canelo. Y'all say Canelo, he don't stop nobody. When last time he knocked nobody? If he can't knock out Berlanga, he's not going to knock out. If he can't knock out him, he's not going to knock out Crawford, bruh. Just like Crawford went up to 54 and he couldn't get a knockout, Canelo has gone up to 75. He couldn't knock out Bivol. He went up to 68. And those guys are way bigger. He's fighting guys way bigger than him. Crawford could knock out Madrimov because he's his size. So you think he's going to knock out Canelo? He's bigger than Canelo. Bro, Canelo got a granite chin. I don't know if y'all know the Canelo. And the only people who saying that Crawford's going to knock Canelo out is people who has to be casuals. They probably have not watched the fight since the Tank last fight, or they probably ain't watched the fight since the Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford fight, because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all niggas didn't even see that Madrimov fight. Y'all just synced it and y'all running with it. Cut it out.
Gabe Risado reflects on Canelo's loss to Floyd Mayweather, describing it as a pivotal moment in the Mexican star's career. At the time, Canelo was still developing and lacked the experience needed to compete with a defensive master like Floyd. Risado argues that, although the loss was humbling, it became an invaluable lesson that shaped Canelo into the fighter he is today. Since then, Canelo has grown in confidence, refined his technique, and learned how to handle different styles. Risado suggests that this evolution makes Canelo far more dangerous now than when he faced Floyd, and Crawford will have to deal with the matured, battle-tested version of Alvarez.
Be too soon for Xander, but who knows, man? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like Canelo needed more seasoning when he fought Floyd? Or do you think that Floyd just got his number, period?
Yeah, I think no, I think he was very inexperienced when he fought Floyd. You know, he's a different fighter, but see, everybody's different. That fight is what made Canelo become the fighter that he is today. So, you know, that's why boxing, man, is like when they shame guys for losses, it's like, man, you just got to really see how a fighter bounces back from a loss. It's like, because, you know, when Canelo lost to Floyd, there was a lot of things that Canelo learned in that fight that he added to his game. Next thing you know, Canelo started moving his head and his counters got better and his speed, and he understood timing. He understood how to like break guys down differently because he learned that off Floyd. So I think it was a good learning experience for Canelo. And then, you know, I think that kind of fight is gonna help him in the Crawford fight.
Sebastian Funder warns that Crawford may not fully understand the toll fighting Canelo could take on him. He explains that competing at super middleweight requires not only physical preparation, but also long-term adaptation, a skill that Canelo has developed over many years. The Mexican champion has built his career around enduring the grind of this division, fighting larger men consistently. Crawford, by contrast, is stepping into this weight class for the first time, which could leave him drained both physically and mentally. FDOA believes the fight's aftermath might expose the strain Crawford endured in challenging a man who has divided his home. Could be. We'll see.
Could be. We'll see what PBC has for us.
Your favorite, Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo, yeah.
What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo being Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 168. You know, that he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, you know, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, you know, of course he's probably been training, you know, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
What about Ennis? He's the new addition to 154. He's yet to fight there. Canelo brought him in camp specifically because he's a switch hitter like Terence Crawford. What do you make of Ennis just not being in your division and then him contributing to Canelo's camp heading into this fight? Is that a good move?
I think it's good for Canelo's camp to have a fighter like Ennis. Because, yeah, he likes to switch right-handed, southpaw. I think Canelo probably didn't need that. But, you know, the fact that Ennis went might cause a little bit of drama. I think he did for a dramatic effect. But, you know, great fighter at 147, but 154 is a different division. They have me in there, so we'll see what he can do.
Critics often debate the entertainment value of Crawford's style compared to Canelo's. While Crawford is technically brilliant, some argue his fights lack the explosive moments that captivate casual fans. In contrast, Canelo has built a reputation for delivering drama, whether through knockouts, body-punching clinics, or high-stakes battles. Even if Crawford manages to defeat Canelo, analysts suggest he would not automatically become the face of boxing. To achieve that status, he would need to take on and defeat other formidable names such as Dimitrivolt, proving his ability against bigger and more dangerous opposition. Only then could he command the same global spotlight that Canelo currently enjoys.